At this point, most people besides Alex Myers have come to a consensus that Bear is the bad guy in Obsession. It's not exactly some difficult test of media literacy. The fact that Bear's villain status has become a litmus test for relationships is honestly as horrifying as the movie itself. Just to put it in perspective, let me show you Nikki's POV.
Do you like me? Because if you do, now's the time to tell me.
I think we're good friends.
Okay, good. Good night. Wait, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Bear, kill me, please. Just kill me. Please, 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 please.
So the more interesting question to me has been, when does Bear become the bad guy? However, as any hour-long video essay on Walter White will tell you, villains don't become evil. Villains just need the opportunity to let their evil out. Plus, some dude already made my video idea. But thinking about it more, when would I, or anyone else for that matter, realize what we had wished for came true? Would we even realize we're the bad guy? So I'm going to go over when you could realistically realize the one wish Willow worked, the soonest we could fix the wish, and also critique Bear while we're at it. We'll be taking over Bear's position right away, immediately after the wish is made. So our cat is dead, and we just lost a lot of aura by calling our crush
Freaky Nikki.
But she comes back to our car to ask about the gift we told her that we got. Nothing out of the ordinary. The energy in the combo feels a little off. It seems she might have gotten a little bit more drunk at the bar than you thought. She somehow confuses us losing our cat with her losing a cat, which, to be honest, is kind of weird in the moment, not gonna lie. Weird enough that it actually causes Bear to look at the Willow in this moment, leading us with our very first opportunity to fix this. By being locked in, we realize right away that it's our wish that caused her weird behavior, and we immediately go back to the mysticism store to figure out ways to reverse the wish. I really think this is the only chance we have to try and reverse the wish and manage to keep Nikki as a friend after. She really hasn't been affected much by the wish yet, and will probably just think she was drunk. If you suss out the wish this early, you're honestly moving like Primal, because I don't think anyone would have realized it worked yet. So we're gonna continue until us normal folk figure it out. So Nikki is really tweaking out, and honestly it's really weird, but she's your crush, so you just accept it. People overlook red flags all the time. This is nothing new. She tells you that her dad is dying and doesn't want to be alone, which is really fair, honestly. Most people would want to be there for someone they care about. So you agree to bring her to your house, where she keeps making advances on you, which I would say a good person would say no to. That's pretty much taking advantage of her unstable feelings, even not in wish mode. Ian actually addresses this later in the movie.
Kinda looks like Nikki's going through something. It kinda looks like you're taking advantage of the situation.
Also, Bear's immediate response to Nikki freaking out in their bedroom being that
You kiss me!
is insane work, by the way. And bro already knew what he was doing was weird. But anyway, she totally freaked out on you and is starting to cry, and the whole thing is just so strange. Strange enough that it actually pushes Bear to look on Reddit about the validity of the Willow. But the information is so conflicting. Many agree it's just a toy, while another person says their mom was ugly her whole life, but then her mom made a wish and suddenly ascended and started mogging. I honestly don't think Bear is an abnormal or bad guy for not believing randoms on Reddit. I mean, have you seen what they talk about on there? Although, this gives us just enough evidence for opportunity 2. After a whole night of bipolar actions, many people would be on edge and just want out of that situation. Some might give her a blind eye because of her dying father. Plus, she is the love of your life. In my opinion, only some people would realize they caused this. Someone who is open to something mystical like a wish working. Even if we were able to help Nikki now, I don't think the friendship would last, because all she'll remember is trying to go home after a night of drinking and then finding yourself in our bed at our house. Not a good look. You manage to fall asleep after the crazy night and wake up the next morning, and you walk into your kitchen to make some breakfast where she's prepared some crazy psycho eulogy for your dead cat that you put in your trash can. Side note, Bear put his cat in the trash can and left it there the whole movie. Anyway, this is opportunity number 3, the definitive piece of evidence that, with no doubt, something's wrong. It's likely a lot of people would try getting her help in some way after this, probably calling the police, and I believe the event is so shocking that many people wouldn't even connect their stupid wish they made with this. But Bear, and in this case us, grew up with Nikki for years all the way through high school, and we've always liked her, so instead of telling the authorities, we make a lighter course of action and just tell a friend. Bear tells his close coworker friend Ian, and I actually think this is an okay decision, and informing anyone is a step in the right direction at the very least. After a talk with Ian, he and Bear conclude that Nikki's on drugs, something she's done in the past, assuming she's taking it because of her dying father. All the evidence seems to align. Later on that night, Ian calls us and feeds into the idea that everything's actually fine with Nikki, all while Bear lets an AI feed him a confirmation of matching symptoms of Molly to Nikki's condition. Living in the modern age, we know the AI is perfect for feeding our own delusions. Interrupting our call with Ian, freaky Nikki comes by and uses the ultimate tactic effective against all men, telling him what he wants to hear. This is basically gonna factory reset any guy, so immediately all of her past actions are forgiven and forgotten. All the evidence would lead most rational people to believe she was just having an insane trip. It is crazy that even while Nikki is giving Bear a prime D-Wade to LeBron alley-oop by just asking him outright if he likes her, Bear's still too much of a scaredy vagina to say he likes her first. The next day, Bear and Nikki proceed to enter their very own early 2000s high school love app montage that, thanks to Reddit user u/femeds, we know takes place over the course of about 2 days, meaning it's only been about 4 days since the wish was initially made. During this montage, freaky Nikki makes her worst action throughout the entire film, posting AI art on her Instagram. I think it's worth noting that during the montage, they watch a movie together, and Bear actually has to physically turn her head away from him. It's little, but I think it just shows he knows what's going on is still weird, in that she isn't behaving how he really wanted her to. Nevertheless, on the 5th night, we go out for a dinner date, where our buddy calls us to inform us that our girl's actually been lying about her dad having cancer. We realize, and even Bear realizes, we totally caused this. This is essentially the last opportunity where we can still at least claim morality and justify it internally by trying to solve the situation after the phone call. Any moment after this is pretty much pure villainy, and how we end up on an episode of Analyzing Evil. I think anyone who actually wants to get out of this situation would start by not telling Nikki about the phone call, creating some excuse for her not to come home with them, and then trying to figure this whole thing out. If we manage to free her, I can only expect to at least end up being investigated by the police. Nikki's last memory, for sure, is her in bed with us, and we can even assume she knows about some of the happenings because of what she tells Bear later in the movie. So she's probably gonna tell the cops. I don't even know how a legal case like this would proceed. Where is Law by Mike when you need him? Even though everyone you know is going to say you're a horrible person, at least you can know in your own heart that you helped her after you found out what you did. At the dinner, freaky Nikki gives Bear a tiger's eye, and it really makes me think she might have just liked that crystal necklace. Anyway, Bear doesn't do any of what I just said. I think he only asked Nikki about her dad at dinner, hoping she would respond normally so he could stay with freaky Nikki without that lie hanging over their heads. Later, in the middle of the night, we wake up to Nikki doing her best Mandela catalog impression. I genuinely do not know why Bear decides to stay with Nikki after this night. I would be shaking under my blanket like a child hiding from monsters. He was probably looking like Omni-Man trying to sleep that night. Any normal person with any amount of self-preservation instincts would be out. The next morning, Bear interrupts Nikki from reading her book upside down to confront her about last night, where Nikki contorts her face to levels only thought possible in millennial humor. This causes Bear to somehow miss the fact that his entire front door has been covered in duct tape. After all of that, I offer a cowardly solution. Just running away. At least have some self-preservation, man. At the end of the day, she's just a girl. She's not gonna be able to CIA track you down. Bear makes it to work and eats the lunch Nikki made him. This is actually really sweet because he told Nikki at dinner he wanted to become a food critic if he could, which is really stupid actually because he's unable to tell he's eating a 6-day-old decaying dead cat. It's like he said he wanted to be a food critic just because they were actively eating at the time. If they were watching a movie, he'd say actor, or if they were studying for computer science, he'd say a McDonald's worker. Later that night before going home, he actually calls up One Wish Willow Inc., and the weird guy the Thredditor talked about picks up, who provides us with a new solution: death. I can't exactly blame you, or Bear even, for not wanting to do this, considering you would die, but it would be a heroic sacrifice, in some ways payback for the actions you committed. Obviously, Bear's not gonna do this, and realistically, I don't know how many people would. If somebody's already this deep into the wish, I doubt self-sacrifice is something they care about. After rehearsing his debate club speech, Bear comes home to see Nikki covered in piss, poop, and vomit, probably combining with the beautiful aroma of week-old, rotting dead cat that is still ruminating in the home. Being a gentleman, Bear walks up and offers Nikki nothing to clean up, so Nikki goes to shower. This is where Bear shows some authority and really puts his foot down and tells Nikki not to feed him his dead cat and that he's going to go alone to a boys' night out with Ian, which she responds very calmly to. So Bear ends up bringing Nikki along, even though Ian specifically said not to. At the party, they're playing beer Jenga, and some guy clearly breaks the rules by pulling a block off the top layer, but after that, Nikki has her turn next, and reads the most horrifying Wattpad story ever created, giving everyone a serious buzzkill. Next, it's Bear's turn, and instead of just drinking to skip his turn so he didn't have to read out his challenge, he reads it out, and Indy responds by showcasing how expressive you can be as an actor when you don't have Botox. I think the party is actually a really good opportunity to blame Nikki. You could show everyone she's crazy, and you've been too scared to say anything. If not saying that here, you could just tell someone later. They'd probably believe you after seeing her beat her own head in. If we're not gonna save Nikki, we can at least save ourselves. Returning home, Bear, wearing his best victim Carhartt, expresses how desperately he wants for Nikki to love him.
This is all I've ever wanted. I want this to work so bad.
His first question when he finally has a moment to speak with real Nikki, all he can say is,
What's so bad about being with me?
Even after seeing Nikki hurt herself, all his main priorities are his own. However, we can acknowledge Bear no longer holds the position of power in this dynamic. Look how tiny he is in this picture. Freaky Nikki is horrifying, constantly telling morbid stories, walking in reverse video, and pump faking like Prime DeMar DeRozan. He's in a hell of his own making, but it's a hell nonetheless. When speaking with Nikki, he has provided the opportunity to kill Nikki. I would actually expect most people to jump on this at this point, at least over ending their own life. Killing Nikki is arguably a more honorable choice than whatever Bear has been doing, or the lack of what he's been doing. For the first time since making the wish, Bear decides to take an action after Sarah says that she's coming over to his house, even after the party where she just saw her coworker smash her head in with a glass. At the park, in Sarah's car, they have a really sweet, nice discussion about life, and how Sarah's gonna be leaving for college soon. She also tells him that Ian's been cucking Bear for 2 years. Sharing all these personal moments together, Bear and Sarah share a goodbye kiss, and Sarah leaves happily ever after. Okay, listen, I say we can try and snitch on Nikki. We have multiple witnesses to verify she's been acting insane, plus obviously the whole Sarah thing. They take her to the music store. There's gotta be cameras somewhere. It's 2026. Come on. It takes Sarah dying for Bear to finally decide it's time to go back to the store and find another One Wish Willow. While there, he complains to the chillest dude ever. I mean, Zenyatta levels of calm.
She's obsessed with me.
With some new willows, he tries to wish for Nikki to love him as a friend, which is still insanely selfish and not very useful, as friends can still be obsessive. Also remember, they just hit a dead body. Wishing to never be caught would probably be a better decision, but it doesn't work anyway, so he runs over to bother Ian, and he finally tells Ian that he made a wish for Nikki to love him, and he begs Ian to make a wish to reverse it. That's a bad idea, because Ian doesn't believe him and wishes for 0.10% of Elon Musk's entire net worth. But this gives us a new advantage: money. With $1 billion, we could just lock Nikki in some cage like an immortal snail. Even with $5, we could just get Chekhov's homeless dude to use a willow. Ian even pulls up to Bear's house to say, "Bro, we'll be fine. I have $1 billion." You see, he had the right idea before Nikki no-scopes him into oblivion. Bear, in the end, finally decides to make his third decision of the film and swallows his entire medicine cabinet so that the wish can finally end. He doesn't go out before trying to vomit it all out and wiggle his way out of one last situation. It's crazy that in just 1 week, Bear caused his death, the death of Ian and Sarah, as well as the arrest of Nikki. Thinking about it now, we have an opportunity before the wish. Just asking Nikki out.
Do you like me?
Yeah, I do.
When it comes to the decision of whether Nikki liked Bear or not, the conversation is rather fruitless. The director even admits he filmed the movie to be intentionally vague regarding Nikki's feelings towards Bear. So it's really a pick your own fanfiction on what you decide to believe. We're only with Nikki for like 10 minutes. You can't exactly form a character profile. This isn't JCS criminal psychology. I've seen every action, facial expression, and sentence she said in those 10 minutes argued in favor for or against her feelings towards Bear. We can't trust Ian because he's been cucking Bear. We can't even trust that what Sarah's said is true. But there is the possibility that both of them are being honest. We don't really know. In the end, what we do know is that Nikki is nice and would either entertain a date with Bear or just let him down softly if he admitted his feelings. If Nikki said no, I still think Bear would have made the wish. To be honest, I think I have a little bit more to say about Bear.